Okay, you guys, here I have it on the brick. I'm just generally showing you the direction that we're going here. This is my stone. When it's set, it will look like this. Love these gorgeous triangles. This is a green amethyst that I'm using, but you could use any kind of a found object. And I'm just showing how to put together these nail heads and twists here. So I'm gonna actually get the, I'm just showing you, kind of a little fancier cage that you can cage your pieces around. Doesn't matter at this point if I have my shape exactly right or not. The important thing here is to just be able to solder this closed here at this end, and then I'm gonna bring in the other end and start adjusting and getting things into shape. So I'm gonna do this with a hard. This is good to work with a hard, so let me get this going. There's some hard. Here's my nice pick. Let me get my torch on. There we go. Okay. All right, I don't need that much room right now. And I'm gonna try to just get up and under. Ooh, these look like they have a little, I just cleaned them in pickle, but they look like they have a little bit of fire scale. We'll see. Okay, here we go. I wanna get up and under this area here when I'm working with my piece, but actually, it might be nice. Let's see a good angle. Maybe I'll come in from this angle right here. It's all about the angle and being careful about your angle getting into here. Let me get this little skinny side stick here. There we go. Okay, just getting in at these right angles. You don't need a lot when you're working with wire. I'm gonna quench this right here. Okay, a little dirty, but it looks good. My seam looks nice and strong. So let me get out my stone. It's easier to put it upside down when you've got these rose cut dimensionals. Now it's annealed, so it's in good shape. And I'm actually gonna use this opportunity to bend these upwards. I think it might be easier. So you just want to really get in here. It's important to have the right shape with your piece. There we go. Oh, that looks so pretty. Okay, and my long piece is right here. So I think what I might just do is lay this across in this way. Let me straighten this piece out. You can always twist afterwards when you're using, this is like an advanced of the caging. All right, let's see if I can get this pulled and stretched around. I kind of want it nice and tight, a nice tight fit. And this soldering moment is important. So I'm gonna really want to put this about right here. Get my stone work down. So take my stone out. My wire is a little bit dirty, and then I'm gonna want to solder this right in here. I'm gonna take a second, and I can always twist it later. Let me take a second, get it a little bit cleaned up here, so I can come in and have a super clean background. Get my station set up. I'm gonna put my screen back on. Okay, work on top of here. Okay, there we go. Here's exactly where I want it. Get some nice flex on here. These were cut. You guys know how to make the nail heads. This is in the wire chapter. And again, I'm gonna use hard. So, oops, what did I do with my little pile of hard? There it is, right there. You guys can still see this? Yep, there's my hard. So let me get in again. Okay. So easy, right guys? So easy. Okay. Oop. I've got it turned up a little hot. All right. Here we go. Get this dried up a little. I'm gonna try getting in from, pushing it in from this area. So I wanna use this bottom. It's good for me to use this bottom piece. I'm gonna wanna get my solder right here just because it Maybe I'll get it here. Push it inward a little. There we go. There we go. Let's see if that worked. Pretty sure it did on both accounts. Think so? Let me quench it. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I can get in here and bend this how I want to. So let me get out my stone. That area's a little warm, so I'm gonna work right here. So there we go. Look at how beautifully that fits. Super excited. Now, it's always after the fact that I go in and I'm gonna take my wire and I'm just gonna twist it around a little to make it interesting. Another thing I could do is I could set a small little bezel on there if I wanted to. Whoops. I did bring it a little out of shape. Get that back into shape again. Now, this piece is gonna be sitting in this way. Ooh, it's gonna be so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so we have to bring the rest, put the rest of the cage in order now too. I might do a little wrap on there later. I might set another bezel on the top of here. It's like, this is the creative part, you know, there's a caging chapter that shows you directly how to do these type of things. Well, this is the creative part where we're getting into like, how do we want things done? So I'm gonna get the rest of this set up and show you how to do it. Okay, I'm actually decided I'm gonna do a setting, just something different. So I'm gonna put together this ring, and this will be sitting up in the air. I won't need this support system under, but I thought it might look nice to kind of do a little repetition. The bottom comes to a point, so I really wanna do a circle type thing. So what I'm gonna do first is get this jump ring soldered together with a heart, mark it off where I need it done. So I have that put together. And I'm gonna solder it right on here with the heart. And then the next thing I'll do is I'm gonna solder it down to here. So I'll show you how I'm gonna accomplish this. And that would be, oops, sometimes I drop these pieces. This one, I'm really excited about getting some pieces like this back into my life. I've been talking about it for a long time now. Okay, there we go. So I just need a hard, get my pick. Okay. When you're working with twisted wire, you have to be careful not to use too much solder. Hang on. Only because it covers up your beautiful twist, right? If you think about it, it covers your beautiful twist when you're using beaded wire, any type of wire like that. Okay. Beautiful connection. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of sandpaper and pop it in, pop my ring in the pickle. We're gonna be working with a lot of this twisted. How much fun. This is an 18 gauge twisted. Usually if I don't use twisted wire, I use, if I don't use twisted wire, I use a 16 gauge for this. So it's kind of nice to see. I'm just gonna actually flood a little bit of medium solder onto here. That'll help me to, ooh, I thought I cleaned all of my solder. We'll see how good we can get this to stick down. Doesn't look so clean today. I just pickled it all. Well, we'll see. I might have to pickle it once it's done. So I'm just gonna kind of flood this area in here, just so I can lay down that ring and not have any worries. There we go. Little flood. Just a little flood. Okay. I'm gonna take my, oh, where's my, well, one of my favorite pliers. Where are my favorite pliers? I'll show you guys my very favorite pliers. I just ordered 3 more pairs. My ends are getting a little a little, you know, need to be hammered out. So I'm gonna put it in my flux. Ooh, it doesn't quite look like it's laying flat enough, so I'm gonna actually hit it with my rubber mallet. You guys won't be able to see this, but you can hear it. That's where I'm hitting it with my rubber mallet over there, guys. Okay, all right. Now, as you guys know, I'm gonna work from under my screen, so let's get this moved over. If I work on the outside, all this solder is gonna flow to the outer areas. So let's do that. Why not, right? Okay. Get it over to this tip, get it under. When you're working with acetylene, you don't have to, I just started working with acetylene for this course, but I'm gonna be going back to butane because I'm gonna be on the road again. I just have had a little bit of time in my studio, which gave me, you know, just a little bit of time working with other tools. There we go. Okay, so I'm excited about this. I'm gonna quench this, pickle it. It's soldered down beautifully. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna pickle this as well. I think in the meantime, I actually might set a little, I might set a little stone, or maybe, I think I'm gonna set this piece on here. That actually would be really a beautiful solution, wouldn't that? Set some on the side, maybe, you know, so it's just interesting. You can get, ooh, that looks good, doesn't it? Okay, if I'm gonna set something like this, what I'd wanna do, so here's a little extra one in here. You guys can see it, right? I'll put it right here. I've got it tucked in between. I wanna make sure it doesn't slip and fall, so let's make sure this is tucked. And I'm actually going to, I sent these out and they were oxidized, but you really don't want them oxidized. I liked oxidizing them because you could see the pattern better. I'm gonna use this one. This is from some pieces that I recently got from India that I'm in love with. Oh, you know what though, guys? I'm gonna go pickle this and I'll be back. So with this part here, you could see these tiny little granulations. I actually decided, here's my two parts I'm working on. I'm gonna actually put a floral on top of here just to decorate. Usually I do this in the end. If I do it in the end, I can work with an easy, but I'm gonna do these at the beginning. So I'll be working with a medium solder. So I'm gonna get a little bit of medium onto these granulations and solder it down. I'm gonna get a little bit of solder right here, and I'm gonna put this flower onto here. I think it'll be beautiful. And then later on, towards the end, I might even put a flat sheet and do an addition, but I can save this little piece there for an addition. So that's kind of cool. I don't have to worry about that now, step by step, right? We don't have to do everything at one time. Okay. I'm gonna turn this way down because really I'm just working with these teeny tiny little pieces here. Here's all my medium, nice and clean. I just cut up some new medium. Okay. I always just sweat it right on there. Up. There we go. Sweat it right on. There we go. Always good to work from the top. Oh, it's a day out there. Okay. Do one more dot. You know where that's going? Right here. That one didn't seem like it got to where it was supposed to be. This one's going to take a little bit more heat. There we go. Okay, now let's get this where I love these pliers. I'm going to get everything where they're, this is some granulation that I made with fine silver. We've got the entertainment in the background, right? Okay. Get this one right on here. I'll adjust once I get it on. Whoops. I didn't plan on doing this when I soldered the piece down, so sometimes I have a little bit more, I change my mind as I go, and I needed a little bit more room, but no worries here. Okay, let me get under. Now, when you're working with granulation, you really need to make sure that you get under, because if you get on top of your piece, your solder's just gonna come up and over the top. And if you have a pattern on top, it covers the pattern. So that's kind of the problem. So I definitely want to work under for most of this time. There we go. You can see it already happening here. Okay. 3. Let's get this one down in place. He has to really do some tricks there. There you go. Okay. Now, this one's done. This one's going to be ready for the pickle. This is the bottom plate where the ring band will sit. So that's what this is. And I remember now I'm actually putting this dipped in. So this one's going on top of here. So it's a super thin, oh my gosh, this is like a 30 gauge. So I'm gonna heat this all the way up until I can see the solder flow like that. And then I'm gonna put my piece on. There we go. Voila. Okay, this other piece, so this is this. Beautiful. This piece I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can do a lot of different things with that piece. So these are both going in. It's shaping up beautifully. And I'll show you guys the rest of this in just a minute. Here's my gemstone. I twisted some 20 gauge wire for the prongs. These are gonna come all the way from under, and you want a little bit, so to measure them out, every prong is different. I think I'm gonna do 2 on each side of the triangle. I could do one on the tip if I wanted to. That actually would make it really secure. So I might do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're looking for 6 or 7. So I'm gonna cut 7 of them. You see, I'm gonna need to bring it all the way under the plate. And I've got twisted wire. So I'm gonna make all of them about this long. 7 pieces of twisted. Oh, I'm so excited about the twisted. It catches the light, really gives you an elegant look. So that's been my thing lately. 6, okay. Okay, here is my 6 pieces. I'm gonna actually dip them all in the flux. And what I need to do is put a little bit of, I'm gonna do medium solder on the end. Let me make sure that they're all nice and flat. Actually, I'll use all these flat ends and I'll dip them in one at a time. So these all are gonna have medium on there. 1. Double flush, 2. 3. You can see my plate is a little bit crooked. Things are rolling. Get some stones under so they don't roll. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. Whoa, it is noisy around here today. Sorry, guys. Luckily, you could still hear me, I'm hoping. Okay, so we've got all that. I've got my medium solder all in here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get the tips of all of these. And I don't need it that hot, and I don't need this up here. So I'm gonna get all the tips done with just a little bit of solder, and that'll be my ends that I can lay down on my piece. Okay, and sometimes I just put them right on the end. This one, I think I can put them a little bit, I've got a little bit of space on top that I could do. Okay. I am lately just sweat soldering everything. It just makes it so nice and easy. Makes life easy, right? Why not? Sometimes it's so relaxing. Another thing you can do is pull your, you can just drop your bead right on the end and just pull your wire towards it, Okay, there's the 6. Let me get my pieces out. They're nice and clean. Okay, I'm gonna actually cut this out with the jeweler saw, and these are all gonna be attached. So that's gonna be my next step. Hang tight, guys. So here we are. I've got these 2 pieces here. This is how it's gonna sit. The flower turned out beautiful. I still don't know what I'm gonna attach there yet, but I don't have to know yet. So I'm actually not gonna put these prongs where, I have the granulation. So that means that I wanna make sure that in these 3 corners, when I put pieces over, these will reach upward. So the back of this is completely covered with flux, and I actually decided that I'm just gonna this is gonna be attached to my ring band anyway, so this is gonna help me out to have some solder under here. So I'm just gonna let the solder flow under here. I mean, one thing, and then I'll show you how I'll set up. So, one thing I know is that when you solder pieces together, it really is gonna flood to attach to the piece. Let me get this flowing. There we go, in all corners. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, let's see how these are gonna set up on here. I always re-dip, dip and re-dip. So I wanna work on the screen because I'm gonna be working under. Remember, I really have to try to make sure I'm gonna put 2 around every granule, so that helps me out. I have to really get under here though. I have to make sure that I'm not hitting the wire. Okay, wait, that's right, I only have 6. Oh, maybe I'll do 8. Actually, that might work out a little bit easier if I did 8. We'll see. Yeah, I think the only way I can do this is if I do 8. And then I might actually cover it up. We'll see how good, or if this looks messy, I might actually end up covering this up with another sheet. That's an option. This one I'm not even gonna put the solder on. So let's see if that works. I changed my mind with soldering as we went along. So I want a piece about this big. Okay, where's my nice straight one? All right, let's see what happens, guys. I really need to get up and under. If you guys know how disastrous this could be if okay, this could be disastrous if I don't come up and under, or I might want to work on so I'm going to work right under here. I'm going to work under, really working under my screen, under my metal. So if the solder does flow out up and over my this wire I set up. Okay, there we go. See that solder connecting? There we go. There we go. Sometimes you just have to hold it in place. This one too. It's kind of nice. You guys can see just working out some of these harder things, right? If there's one tough one that doesn't go, there we go. Okay. Okay, everybody's down. All right, let's see what this looks like. I know, sometimes it's kind of like a spider, right? But it's kind of cool. It looks good. I might actually get another piece and solder it under there, although it'll be attached to my ring band. So here is my spider. So you guys can start to see how this is going to materialize, okay? Now, what I do, I like working on here because this is nice and white. Should be holding. So what I do is I am going to bring these up and over to the places that they're supposed to be. You know, and then it'll help me. This is how it's going to be up in the air like this. So it really helps me to get it into place. So I start at the bottom. You know, I start with pulling them up as they sit. And you can see from here, you want to try to keep it somewhat centered. That's going to be important to keep it centered. This will, you know, if you want a low cage, you do it this way. If you want a high cage, which I'm going to want my cage a little higher, you just want to bring it in a little closer like this. You just keep pulling it in a little from the base. There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. I know, it starts to look like a spider, right? Okay. It's just a little fiddling with it. You can see here, I need to pull these ends in so they match the others. So the best way to do it is by holding it from the center. You know, you do your own work and it gets bulky when you're here. Okay, so see, I have to pull it in more at the base here. So I'm going to pull those in at the base. Bring the rest of these around. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. Voila. This is going to be beautiful for holding my piece. Gorgeous cage. A lot of light catchers, but I do want to make sure that everything is spaced the way I like it spaced. It actually looks really good. Okay. Okay. If something isn't touching, I can always go back in later. So my main thing is now, I want it to be straight from all angles. Good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna flux the whole thing. I don't think it's gonna be able to dip in here. So get my screen back on. This is all gonna be done with a medium. Get it spritzed up pretty good from here. I actually had this going. Oh my gosh, my phone is messing up a little bit. So I actually got these all attached, but I will show you guys. If you guys have any trouble with getting these attached, just hop on to the caging chapter. It's all in there. I'm just gonna show you guys one. So what I did, because this one didn't take here. So what I'm gonna do is everything has to get sprayed. This is gonna be sprayed, the whole thing, why not? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend this, overextend it forward so that I know which one to do. I'm gonna bring it to the side, and where I'm gonna point my heat is right under here. As you guys, you know, as I showed kind of in the caging. So let me get out, and then in the other thing that I did here that I think is gonna look good is I put together a little design. I'm gonna flood this area here, and this with a medium. This is gonna be soldered down, and I'm gonna attach that onto the one remaining area that I showed you guys, and then I'll get it going into a ring form, and you guys will get to see that. Okay, so remember, I don't want it that hot because I don't want it to come apart over here by my ring. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything heated, get this warmed up. I've got a lot of heating to do since it, just pick up a piece here, right on the tip. There we go. So, oops, that's not where I want it, right there. See that? Get a little bit more on. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this piece is soldered, and then I'm gonna flood this one here. Put a little bit, tiny bit, why not? Okay. Why do I feel nervous that that isn't on? You know, sometimes you know it's on, but you want to be extra secure. Okay, so here's this that I put together earlier. I'm going to get this in the center. Here's my ring that I put together earlier. And this is going on the outside. Okay, I want to get up and under. What is really fragile, these on this piece here is that, you know, is the granulation. I don't want the granulation to come apart. Okay, get under nice and hot. It's just attaching all these little bitty things together, right guys? You guys can watch or you can fast forward, no worries. Sometimes it's just fun to see. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna pickle this, and this is gonna be soldered onto this area right there. I think it'll look good. Okay. Okay, you guys, here is my piece, cut to size. I put a little decoration on the inside, and I am actually going to, on the back side, I actually stamped my emblem in there, and I'm gonna put this on the back side. It's gonna help in two ways. It's gonna give me a flat surface for soldering this on. So I've got two solders here. So I'm gonna actually flood these. This is gonna be a medium, that one's gonna be an easy. So let me get this going. I want both sides because I'm gonna have to solder on both sides here. I need this completely filled. Then I need this dipped here. So I'm doing a couple things and working with a medium solder and an easy solder. Okay, this one is medium. Okay, here's medium. Okay, so we're gonna do medium on the inside. This is done. Get this lit. Okay, get this over. Oh, I haven't pulled out the easy solder yet. That's a lot of solder, but it's okay. That's all right. I'll put some to the side if I can get it. There we go. Put that to the side. So I don't have too much. No sense in too much, right? Too much is never enough, some people say, but we don't. Okay. When I put in the flux, a lot of times it takes away a lot of this, oh, you know what, let me get some easy out. It takes away a lot of the fire scale. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, didn't I cut an easy for myself? Maybe I didn't. Oh, I didn't. Got a little bit of easy here, but not much. So let me see, and it's a little dirty. I planned on cutting that, and then I got carried away cutting some medium. So let me see if there's enough. Always good to have that solder, right? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put it on this side right here. Here's right where it's going. You guys can see that. I should have enough if it's clean enough. I soldered this ring band together. I thought it'd be kind of cool to make it thicker. There we go. More than enough. Okay, okay, there's our medium, or there's our easy. I'm gonna get this going on the bottom, and then I'll drop it on. This one's gonna require more heat, as you guys know. It's easier to get it warmed up and drop it on rather than trying to get it soldered down. Okay. There we go. Nice. Now I'm going to get this soldered onto here nicely. Hopefully it should be warm enough. All we need is this piece. This piece is going to take a lot of heat, my ring band. So let's see if we can get it. There we go. When you're putting an easy on, You have to hold it there for a little. Voila! How exciting is that? I know the cages always look funny until they're filled. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up, and then I'll show you how to set the stone. Okay, you guys, sorry my hands are so dirty. I got my piece polished up, soldered together, oxidized. You can see my name on the back. It looks pretty cool. I hate to even cover it, right? But you have to. Oh, you know what I wanted to show you that I did? I actually went in, I brought this up a little too high because I put another decoration on here. So I had to actually drill out a little resting place for my stone in the center, okay? So I'm gonna put it right in here. This is actually this was actually from Thomas Mann. Remember Thomas Mann? He doesn't teach very much anymore, but I am cleaning up my stone with the terry cloth. I'm gonna have to clean it again. Mine is a green amethyst, and this actually I consider the top. So I wanna be able to push this back. I'm gonna use this top part here for a part of a prong, see that? I can hold that up there, okay. Great. Oh my gosh, it's looking so beautiful. Nice and even. I want to get my sides even. And then what I want to do, very carefully holding this, I'm just going to very carefully bring my prongs up and around close to my stone on all sides. Bring that one in. Bring this one in. I like working on this side. This is really a nice, brilliant little design here that he had. So I can see how he did it. There's a lot of fancy ways to set stones, but I really like just to use them. You just want to hold on and make sure that you're not, your stone isn't going to get set crooked. And I just kind of lean into it once I have them all set in place. Just kind of lean into it with your prongs. There we go. And then, you know what? I see one off here in the corner. I'm going to use this prong over here. You know, you can use your, they want to be in nice and tight. You can use any of your side things. This is actually a prong right here, this flower that I set. And I can use this one as a prong set too. So it really is just kind of using your material that you have, rocking it on here. Now, since I have this part done, I have another little beautiful tool that's out of plastic because you don't want to damage your piece. And I can actually use this just to rock, and it actually helps your gemstone. Rock this on here nice and tightly. Get off in this corner. There we go. These are, you can, the reason I wanted to put such a beautiful pattern underneath is that you can really see this pattern under here. After I hammered my prongs into place, I actually, there we go. See, that little flower makes all the difference. It's all the little things in life, guys. And, you know, so it's a little bit of a different, ooh, let me set a different, I've got this ring on. Let me switch out my rings. And voila. Voila, I'll get you guys some good photos. But that's basically it. Oh my gosh, I am thrilled to death. Although I might put this way. There we go. Oh my gosh, I love it. And this is adjustable. I'm gonna wanna make this a little bit more adjustable for me. Way to do that is, see, it looks beautiful. I really like it. It looks like a all around. And I always like these being on here nice and tight. I might have tightened it a little too much, but you guys will get to play with it and see. All right, you guys, enjoy this project. I did.